we welcome you. Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in. We welcome you. Let it go. Be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love, joy, and cheer. So come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jim's been away from us for a week, so welcome back, Jim.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And we gently continue to open our hearts and our voices, yes. Reveal, reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me. Reveal, reveal the joy inside of me.
Peace.
Reveal the peace, thank you, Jim, that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, peace is what I see. Reveal the peace in me. The joy, reveal, reveal the joy inside of me. Reveal the joy that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the joy in me. Reveal, reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. And every time I open up, love is what I see. Peace. Every time I open up, peace is what I see. Every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the love in me.
Thank you, Jim and Sunny, for the wonderful music, setting the stage, setting the tone for this marvelous revealing service in which yet more awareness of the truth that God is all there is, that love is all there is, that peace and joy is the truth. And as I know that truth, I am filled with such a consciousness of gratitude and of joy, for truly each one of us is God expressing. Each one of us at the truth of our being is love expressing, is peace expressing, is joy expressing. And as we imagine and live in that truth, there is such power, such energy, such exuberance. And it is so very, very good. As I know those truths, I'm reading this evening from one of my favorite books that I go to often for quotes, for inspiration, called Spiritual Literacy. And many of you know Jackie Mayo, and she put me onto this book a number of years ago, and I really appreciate it. And I was looking at joy. Now, I don't always pay attention to all the things in my life that really have the potential for bringing me joy, for arousing joy, if only I'd pay attention. So this reading is from Anne Sexton, who is a Pulitzer Prize winning poet, and the title is Welcome Morning. There is joy in all, in the hair I brush each morning, in the cannon towel newly washed that I rub my body with each morning, in the chapel of eggs I cook each morning, in the outcry from the kettle that heats my coffee each morning, in the spoon in the chair that cry, "Hello there, Anne," each morning, in the Godhead of the table that I set my silver plate cup upon each morning. All this is God, right here in my pea-green house each morning, and I mean, though often forget, to give thanks, to faint down by the kitchen table in a prayer of rejoicing as the holy birds at the kitchen window peck into their marriage of seeds. So while I think of it, let me paint a thank you on my palm for this God, this laughter of the morning, lest it go unspoken. The joy that isn't shared, I've heard, dies young. And so it is. And now we get to hear Reverend Sunshine talking about imagine and joy.
Thank you, Reverend. Hey, everybody. How are we doing tonight? Great? Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you so much, Candace, for that beautiful prayer and that beautiful reading. Joy is our natural state. And yet, if we were to do a poll and check out where everybody is at any particular time of the day, we may not be aware of the joy that is our natural state, because we may not be aware that we're feeling it, or we may not be feeling it at all. But how could it be then our natural state and us not experience it to the fullest or even feel joy-filled most of the time? It's a great question. It's a great question as we maybe review 24 hours from today to the last 24 hours, and then review this 24 hours going forward to see if there's a difference or a change in what we may be experiencing compared to what we set out to experience and to know for ourselves. The key is that if joy is my natural state, what must I be thinking and or believing in order to live from joy, in order to know that this is my natural state? And what does that really mean for joy to be our natural state? Well, in our science of mind philosophy and in our teaching, what we know is that there's one power, one life. It is God, Spirit, a great reality, Mother, Father, God, whatever name we give it, it is. And what we know about this creative intelligence and this power and this presence is that we name it and we give it all of these qualities that it is, things that we can really identify with, meaning harmony, peace, love, joy, abundance, wisdom, infinite intelligence. And because it has created everything out of itself, therefore that which is created has that same essence. So our natural state is joy, since God is joy, and God is living in, through, and as me right now. But it kind of feels a little weird sometimes, because here's a great idea. Here's a great example. For the most part, and this is just kind of really, really basic, for the most part, we're born male and female. And for the most part, those of us who adapt or who really feel matched up with our gender, with our sex, right, male or female, we say, hey, if I'm a female, hey, I'm a woman, this is my natural state. Here's who I am. This is how I express. Same thing for male. You don't even think about it. It just is. You know, you just walk around and live life in that state of beingness. And yet, when I tell you that your natural state is joy, somehow I'll be like, but I haven't been really joyful. Like, I'm not really experiencing a whole lot of joy, and if it's my natural state, there must be something wrong with me. What's wrong? What's different? And what I want to encourage us to do is, as we sit in some of the silence that comes from asking the questions, because for me, I love asking the questions because it takes me to the next and the next and the next and the next, which is the evolutionary process of at least my own growth and unfoldment. But then if I am not experiencing joy, which is my natural state, what's that about? And what it has dwindled down to is that somehow or another, I must believe that I am something different than joy, or that joy does not live in, through, and as my very life. I must believe that it is not my natural state, so my experience is something else. Make sense? Okay, because when it gets really quiet, I get a little like, they all still with me? Okay, so from that starting point, if you will, stop it. If you're believing that you're other than joy, or that joy is not your natural state, stop it. Joy is your natural state. Love is your natural state. Peace is your natural state. Abundance is your natural state, because that is the nature of God. God has created everything out of itself. You are this creation that God is. You're the way God shows up on planet Earth. You're the way God shows up. Your natural state is joy. But in fact, what happens as we are expressing in these beautiful divine human bodies, we have this thinking mind, and this thinking mind, sometimes we allow it to get cluttered and muttered and muddled and filled with ideas that don't even make sense, ideas that are not even the truth of who we are. And then we take those ideas and we believe them. You know, we think them over and over again, because simply a belief is a thought that we think is true. And so now we have all these false beliefs that we're living by. And then somewhere within us, we discover and uncover, through our work with a practitioner or through our work in meditation and in prayer, that we discover that I can only be filled with joy when I have enough money in the bank, or when my family unit is intact, or when I'm driving a nice car, or when I'm retired, or you can add the list and add on to the list, and on and on and on. I'm sure that all of us have a list of things or ideas that we think of when we think of, wow, I will be filled with joy when, versus or compared to the reading, in a sense, and in effect it was saying, look at how joy-filled my life is. I'm pouring a cup of coffee. But some of us might think, well, if it ain't Starbucks coffee, it's not joy. You see what I'm talking about? The subtle differences as to where our expectation places us and what our beliefs are about the natural state of who and what we are. When we take a look in the Science of Mind book and we just kind of check out the words of Ernest Holmes, there's something really specific that he talks about in terms of our practice and in terms of remembering the truth of who we are. Now, Ernest Holmes is or was the kind of guy who always believed that prayer, meditation, our spiritual practice, repeating things like making something a practice was of utmost importance. Because as we begin to undo or unlearn all the stuff that we think is the truth about us, which is really a lie, we need to replace it or exchange it for that which is true. So when he's talking about joy, he says, declare every day that no mistakes have been made, none are being made, and none can be made. Declare there is one supreme intelligence which governs, guides, and guards, tells us what to do, when to act, and how to act. Having done this in perfect faith, act with perfect assurance. Declare further everything necessary to the full and complete expression of the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. So he's telling us, okay, let's get to the place of joy, right? We get to do that by daily declaring, not once, not twice, several times a day, whenever it is that we need to, because sometimes, there's traffic and we go, where's the joy in the traffic, right? And we have to get ourselves to that place. So he's saying, okay, declare to yourself, no mistakes are made, no mistakes can ever be made, mistakes cannot be made. There's no mistake. There's no mistake. Everything is in divine order, everything. And that's what he's trying to tell us. So let's get to that place. And even if we got to take little steps at a time, instead of just like jumping right to the joy and going, hey, boundless joy is mine. And then the mind says, no, it ain't. Lie. Decline, decline. So for those of us who are not there yet, who can make that giant leap, he says, declare there are no mistakes. There are no mistakes. This is not an error. Do not adjust your television screens. This is not a test. This is in divine order. He tells us to go there first, right? Then he says, I know that there's this power and this presence that lives within me that tells me what to say, when to say it, who to say it to. Thus, no mistakes, where to be. I'm simply being obedient to that. That's why we showed up here. We're just simply being obedient. There are no mistakes. So, step one, step two, then he says, declare further. Now that we've gotten there and we've taken these necessary steps, that everything necessary to the full and complete expression of the most boundless, the most is already like all you can get. And then the word boundless, wow, the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. He says, know this, see it, feel it, and be it. Do this every day for a few minutes. We should all do this until the time comes when it is no longer necessary. When that time comes, we will know it because our demonstrations will have been made. see it, feel it, be it. So many times as we've been exploring the idea of imagine this month out of the Science of Mind magazine and the writings in the Science of Mind daily guides, it's been calling us forth to be in this place of imagining, of creation. It is one of the most powerful tools that we have to be able to be wherever it is that we are physically, but then to be transported through our minds into joy, into bliss, into other areas of the world, never mind the world, the universe. I mean, we have been able to use our imagination to create and to be in a place of knowing that all things are possible. And as we use our imagination now, as Ernest Holmes is telling us and giving us the right use of our imagination, he's telling us and inviting us to see it, see boundless, the most boundless experience of joy. See it. Now, he could be literally talking about look outside and see it. But he also could very well, as we're taught, to see it within, to see it with our mind's eye, to believe it, to feel it, and to be it to such a degree that our life begins to demonstrate this joy, that we live like we just have joy dropping out of our pockets. Oops, oh, that's my joy, but you can have it. It's okay. That our whole demonstration of life is joy, because that is our natural state. And yet, there's that part of us that kind of butts up against that and says, yeah, but really? Can we really be joy-filled all the time? And the answer is yes. It's not mutually exclusive with anything else. I can be sad and still be joy-filled. It's my natural state. I can have challenges and still experience joy. Because joy is our natural state of being. And to the degree in which we embrace and know this truth for ourselves, it is to that degree in which we can be out here with it, that it just exudes. It's just like we sweat joy, we live it. It's our life's demonstration. So sometimes, for some of us, it may be really easy to engage in our daily spiritual practices, of affirming, of praying, of meditation, of seeing ourselves in joy, experiencing joy, feeling it, being it, seeing it, and seeing ourselves and picturing ourselves in situations that are filled with joy. And yet for others, sometimes it's a lot easier to have, instead of seeing it from the inside of your body outwards, meaning in here, sometimes it's easy to see the outpicturing of joy as a reminder of the truth of who we are. I've been recently exposed to this this book that we're gonna do in November. It's called The Thought Exchange. And of course, David, the writer, simply speaks to what we see out here is what we believe in here. And that's nothing new. It's what we teach. What we see out here is what we believe in here. So that which I'm believing is simply reflecting back. There's a great quote in the book as I'm preparing for November. I prepare way in advance for y'all. So the sneak preview is that if you have a smudge on your face and you're looking in the mirror, do you wipe the smudge off the mirror, if you do, it ain't gonna work. And you're rubbing the wrong thing. You're trying to wipe off the mirror, which is just a reflection of that which is. And so it is with joy, that the joy out here is really the joy in here, and to the degree in which I recognize the joy here that lives in me, then I can see it and experience it in the outer world. But if I'm trying to tinker and fix the outer world is simply the mirror of who and what it is that I'm believing. So if I'm trying to wipe the smudge off out here, it ain't gonna work, folks. If I'm trying to fix you, it ain't gonna work, because it's not you, you're the reflection of my inner thoughts, desires, of my being, of my belief. And so I must go here. I must, as Ernest Holmes describes to us, go within. I must declare it. I must declare the most boundless experience of joy. I have to recognize and get the dust bunnies and the cobwebs out of the portals of my mind and really recognize that there are no mistakes. What I'm seeing out here is not a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. Do not adjust your screens one more time. It is an outpicturing of what I believe. So I have to tinker here. And the tinkering here is recognizing and surrendering, if you will. Don't fight it. Surrender to it. Surrender to the joy that is our natural state. Surrender to the love that is our natural state. Surrender to the truth that is our natural state. Surrender to it. Stop fighting it. You can't help it. You can't help it that God is expressing as you. You know? God is expressing as you. You can't help that. You know, so when great things are happening, when you're living to your fullest, it's kind of like, I can't help it. That's just God showing up as me. Wow. This joy that I feel is simply the way God shows up as my life, in my life, through my life. I know that sometimes I need a little help in reminding myself of the joy. And just like the reading that Candace read for us, I play around and do stuff like write songs to remind me of the truth of who I am. So in today's daily guide, which is joy, I practice remembering the things that bring me joy, or the things that remind me of the joy that I am, that it's a reflection. And so one of my childhood favorite songs was My Favorite Things. And some of you, you know, as soon as I say it, will hear the John Coltrane version, or the Luther Vandross version, or the Julie Andrews version, or for those of you who are a hell of a lot younger, the Glee version. Right? But whatever version you're hearing, I always think of the version in the movie. And what I did was just simply write some words to make it fit the melody. You want to hear it? All right. Don't laugh. You can laugh. Yeah, I'm going to sing it. All right. So it goes, rainbows on pages where nothing is written. Time with a loved one when I feel quite smitten. Walking with Sunny, the fragrance of spring. These are a few of my favorite things. Y'all get it, right? Dun, 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 dun. Cozy socked winters and long puppy kisses. Beautiful weddings for Mr. and Mrs. Oldies but goodies that just make me sing. These are a few of my favorite things. Dun, dun. Y'all can do this too, see? Uh-huh. One more verse. Dun, 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 dun. Fresh coffee brewing and white sandy beaches, smile on young faces or just eating peaches, shiny gold jewelry surrounded with bling. These are a few of my favorite things. You like that part, huh? Right? Thank you for indulging me. But that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, right? Like, you know, there's certain tunes that will stick in your head or just kind of lighten your spirit and help you to feel joyful. Go ahead and write some things that remind you of what makes you feel alive. What is a reflection? What's that reflecting back to you that reminds you of the truth of who you are? That joy is within you. So many times we want to focus on where it's missing or where it's lacking. You're not going to solve the problem at the level of the problem. You're not going to find joy by looking at what you don't have. And so many of us have been trained to look for that. I don't have enough money in the bank. I don't have that right person. I'm not driving the right car. I don't have enough clothes. I don't have this. I don't have that. But what are the things, then, that you can look into the world, which is simply the reflection back to you, that you can say, yeah, here, I have a coffee pot, and I love coffee, and I'm pouring myself a cup of coffee. Like, that's a reflection back of joy, of the simple things that bring us pleasure, that remind us of the joy of who we are. We get to, on a regular basis, as Ernest Holmes talked about, it's simply not just affirm it, because just saying the words without the sensation, without the energy, without that feeling tone, without it really, really making that connection into our physical body and vibration, just saying the words are simply noise in the wind, unless we give it meaning. Unless we give it meaning. And so in order to really experience the joy, we get to give it meaning. You know, bad was bad until Michael Jackson made bad be good. And I don't know about you, but the word dope, in some circles meant one thing, and dopey, and like one of the dwarfs, not the dwarfs, the 7 dwarfs, or nowadays, people, that is so dope. The kids make it like it is the most awesome thing around. And for narcotics, if you say dope, they're like, where, what's up? So words don't have meaning. We give it meaning. The things in our lives that are reflected back to us, we give that the meaning. We give that the meaning. We put that energetic there. So look into your own lives, into those things that if you didn't have them, you would kind of go, ooh, I miss that. It could be a pair of favorite old socks or some pajamas that just make you feel warm and cozy. Or it could be, a plaque hanging on the wall that reminds you of a joy-filled moment, a photo. But remember that the joy is within. It is our natural state. And simply it is being reflected back to us by our experiences, by our life. And as we look out, we can name, that's joy, 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 joy. Joy. As a reminder back to ourselves that joy is our natural state. And then, when we recognize that there are no mistakes, that everything is unfolding in a divine way, we recognize that even now, I'm being obedient to the dictates of my heart. I'm simply following that which my heart says to do or to say to people, to go, to be, whatever it is. There's no mistake in that. I'm just following it, being with it, and then again declaring that the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. And it's mine now because it is my natural state. because it is our natural state. Because right where we are, God is expressing. So we enter our quiet time, where we have an opportunity to simply be in this consciousness, where we get an opportunity to simply anchor in, like kind of like dig in a little bit into these thoughts, these ideas, this knowing that right where we are, God is, and the joy that God is, we are. So as you prepare yourselves and prepare your consciousness right now, I'm going to ask that you clear your laps, just so you have an opportunity to outwardly say, I'm clearing everything away. Yeah. And as we simply begin to turn within, we recognize the one power, the one presence that is God, that is living in, through, and as us. And recognize that the joy that God is, I am. We simply pause and drink that in as if we were thirsty. The joy that God is, I am. I am the joy that God is. The joy that God is, I am. I am the joy that God is. It is my natural state. And whatever sensation or feeling tones or vibration or energetic that may be pushing up against it, don't even sweat it. Just let it be. We can get through that. Because it is our natural state. And it's simply clearing away any ideas, any false beliefs of anything that is unlike the simple truth that joy is my natural state. And so as we just accept that, let's see joy just showering us, surrounding us, coming up through us. Let's see joy in each and every part of our body. And let's just live there, with the joy being our natural state. Let's find a joy or place joy in every organ, every function, in every cell. Let's place joy in every thought. Joy, joy. It's my natural state. The joy that God is, I am. I am the joy that God is. Joy is my natural state. We let it be, even now.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So why wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find my joy. Find my joy.
Indeed, it is in the silence where we find our joy, where we recognize that it is indeed our very life, that joy is our natural state, that it is who and what we are, and that it is our very life, not outside of us, but right where we are. And then we see it reflected in its outpicturing, in our demonstration, in the unfoldment of our life. And so it is indeed with joy that I bless our time together in the silence, knowing that joy indeed is our true nature. And we allow it to bubble up within us and to come rolling forth, and we declare that the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. For it is our natural state, so it is so, there are no mistakes, and we allow it to be our demonstration and our experience. It is so, and so it is. Amen. How many of you love pets or children or people? I'm trying to be inclusive here. Right? And there's something about the joy when we hear our children or the voice of our beloved or the barking, the little of our animals or the purring of our kittens, right? Or some of you may have orangutans and snakes and fish at home and things of that nature, but it's that kind of joy. It's kind of like, I hear you. Yes, it brings a smile. It's not a disruption or a disturbance. It's that reminder of the joy that we are. And so now it is our giving time. So I'm going to invite our ushers to come forth with the baskets and invite you to stay conscious, awake, alert, and aware. And to thank you in advance for your gifts, your tithes, your offerings, that which you have brought to share with this spiritual community, that it can continue its programs, its services, its gifting, its all the wonderful things that are provided here under this roof and that goes out into our beautiful community. And as you hold your gifts, your tithes, your offerings, that which you've brought to share with this community, simply give it your own blessing. Simply send it forth with joy and comfort and ease, knowing that it is simply a way that you redistribute your good. Because you have so richly been blessed and given, now you get to give. And it is just the participation in the reciprocal nature of life. So we simply bless these gifts, these tithes, these offerings that fill these baskets. We know that we are indeed wonderful stewards of that which is being given. We bless the giver and we bless the receiver, knowing that all is well. Ushers, go forth. And as you give so generously, please open your hearts to receive the beautiful music of Sunny Day.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Oh yes. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, no. A brotherhood of man, oh. Imagine all the people, oh, living and sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. No, I know someday they'll join us, and the world will live as one, and the world Just imagine. Just imagine a world of peace, a world of joy, a world where there's no war. Just love, love, imagine.
Sunny Daye, ladies and gentlemen, Sunny Daye. Thank you, Jim. No, not yet. Perfect. This wraps up our month of Imagine. Next month, we have a new theme, which I'll tell you about. But before we get to that, we know that we're all revealers of truth. So, as you imagine joy, simply maybe speak to an area that you are ready to embrace more joy in, or something that you're willing to release in order to experience more joy. What would you like to say, beloved?
When you were saying that thing when Michael Jackson brought good, I thought about something.
What'd you think about?
My friend's birthday is when Michael Jackson died. And I wanted to tell everybody.
Thank you for sharing that with us. So now that when we think about that day, we can have joy because that's the day your friend was born, huh? Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. See? I love it. I love it. Okay. Who else is going to take a turn? How are you?
I'm fine, dear.
Just fine. This brings me back to when we were studying on conflict last month. And reading the book, I was, when conflict first came up, it was difficult for me to want to look at conflict. And then as I read it more and more, I began to realize I have a choice. And I got the message finally about being able to not allow conflict to interrupt my peace. So then my daughters, I have two daughters, they're obviously adults, and they're having this war going on between the two of them. And I'm kind of the guy who hears everything about it, you know. And one Slavel came across on an email, and the other one was, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to answer every bit of it. And I said, I was at peace, and I thought, I need to help her be at peace. And I tried to get her to diffuse it. Could you diffuse it by not doing anything? If you want to do something, could you just send back an email saying, I realize we don't get along in this issue, but I love you and I miss you, and I hope that we can work it out. Well, she couldn't do that. She had to send that letter off. And I said, could you think about it for 2 or 3 days, hoping it would dissolve, you know. Well, it didn't. It went out, and I got a call from my other daughter, and 2 hours into the conversation, she brings it up. She wanted to test the waters, I guess, and she said, I got this email from the other person, and I'm conflicted. I don't know what to do. My husband says, don't do anything. And I said, praise the Lord. I said, well, let me tell you why. You know, and I went into about being at peace. I said, it's all about you. I tried to tell the other one it's all about you too. And that if you want to have peace, you have to think of everything about you, and then you can express peace to other people, but you can't do it until you can express peace to yourself. She got the message, and I don't know that so I just said to her, if you're going to go back, I said the same thing, you know. I haven't heard if she's done it, but I had the feeling she was going to do it. But throughout this whole thing and throughout my days, I'm seeing peace where I go now, where I didn't before, because I'm at choice. If a conflict comes up, I can go, oh, that's interesting. Now, I've been taught that for years and years, but I never put it together, you know, until I read that book.
Right.
And you gave and I listened to your tapes every night, and hearing the same message in a different way about being in joy. I found that those just words, if I repeat words, that like you say, I wasn't getting into the feeling of them, but I got into the feeling of conflict and how that I was at choice at it. So it was really great. I want to thank you for letting me share it.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Absolutely. There are no mistakes. I see one more. Absolutely. Hi. Oh, look, she's got some bling, you know? She got some of that bling I was singing about.
I want to thank you. It's such a blessing every week. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I feel very joyful all the time, but today I feel really joyful because my brain tumor was really huge about 13 years ago. They operated, they literally saved my life.
Wow.
And about 6 months ago, all these headaches and stuff, I went there and it's growing back. So now it's the size of the grape, 5 centimeters or something. And today I found out it's now 2.5 centimeters. It's shrinking. All the prayer from the practitioners here, the sweet gals and guys, Louise Hay, Heal Your Body, brain tumor thing, and yours, everything. Just thank you. And now it's shrinking. Yes, praise the Lord. So thank you.
Absolutely. That is definitely something that we are so joy-filled about. Thank you for sharing that. Last call. Last call. Hi, Sweet Pea. What do you want to tell us? Anything in particular? You just want to share that big smile with us, don't you?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. When you remember, let me know, okay? And I'll share it with everybody. Perfect. Well, let me tell you what's in store for us next week. Next week's the beginning of the month, and we have a new theme for the month. And I think if you check your programs, that's scary, all right, because it's October. So what you'll notice is as we go through October, it's a scary month. And there probably won't be any ghosts or goblins, but I will be exposing some of the scary stuff y'all believe, and that we all believe, and that still kind of run our lives. So next week's message is things that go bump in the night. And as we go throughout the month of October, you'll be recognizing some of the themes, and we can just be very, very playful with the theme of the month as we continue to uncover our thoughts and beliefs that keep us bound, and as we begin to embrace the truth of who we are, and as we unfold on this journey of our spiritual growth and unfoldment. So thank you so much for being here tonight. I want to make sure that I thank Gail. She's been holding the light, holding vigil for us tonight. Thank you so much, and want to thank Candace for representing the practitioner corps here on the pulpit. Our practitioners are going to be available for prayer after our service, immediately after service right here in our chapel. If there's something on your heart or mind that you'd like prayer about, or just simply a prayer of gratitude, please stop in to see our practitioners. It is their joy to be with you in prayer for a moment, and to experience that for yourself simply anchors in the truth of who you are. I want to thank Ginny, our coordinator, for making sure that everything unfolds so wonderfully and magnificently. Ed, thank you. He's behind the sound and in our booth and makes everything so wonderful. Tim's on the online AV team aspect of life. Thank you so much, Tim, for being here with us tonight. And then special thanks to our music, our wonderful music. So glad to have Jim Bianchi back. Thank you, Jim. And Sunny Daye, thank you so much. Want to remind you that, of course, some of the classes have started. There's information in your programs. Tomorrow's class that I'm hosting is Soul Recovery, so it's not too late. You can sign up tomorrow morning. It starts at 9:30. If you're interested and moved to be with us, then please do so. And the invitation is to join us in the family room where we're going to fellowship. I think we still have some cookbooks available with some of those fabulous recipes, so those are available. But if we can just spend a little time with one another. I want to thank Rich. He constantly makes the CDs for us every week, and I know that is he responsible for bringing those strawberries? He picks them up, doesn't he? He does. He picks up those great strawberries, and they're always so refreshing after service. So we want to make sure that we give Rich a big old thank you, a hug, or an acknowledgement for that, because he does such a fine job week after week to get those to us so that we feel the joy of his heart. So it's an outpicturing of the joy that he is. So thank you so much. Have I forgotten anything? I don't think so. Join us after service in the family room, and it is time for our prayer now. Our closing prayer is always a song, so we invite Sunny Daye and Mello over. So this is our
prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see, with open hearts and open hands. We lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see, with open hearts and open hands. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand.
thanks for being here tonight. See you in the family room.
Yeah, yeah.